I think Maine is a great place for a forest-based economy. And we got to start with the thing that we have a lot of, wood. And wood is the most environmentally sound material on Earth. And it's because it's renewable, it's carbon neutral, it's highly versatile, it's grown with relatively little effort, especially in Maine. And most important, it's produced and stored in the form of forests that provide a wide array of forest ecosystem values. So a factory of sorts and a fantastic place to be, unlike lots of factories. And those other ecosystem benefits are things that we often take for granted and are not sold, but come naturally from the process of growing wood in forests, and clean air, water, biodiversity, wildlife habitat. In the West, grazing, but recreation and aesthetic places. So depending where you are, these are the values that come off of it. The other thing about wood is that it emits a lot less carbon than other kinds of products, and this is the amount of additional carbon that would be saved from the atmosphere if you use wood as energy, wall studs, floor joists, and so forth. So the research is pretty clear. Wood is a really environmentally sound material and for emitting less carbon. Forests can also store carbon, take it out of the atmosphere and store it, particularly these are multiple rotations. I won't go into the details, but you can accumulate carbon with substituting wood for the other uses in the forest product pools that come out of it. So managed forests can accumulate carbon over periods of time. The other thing we know is that the world is going to need more wood products. And this is the reason. Human population, it's increasing. This is sort of the projection here by 2050 of 9 billion people. And they're going to need wood. One of the things we know is population increases, wood consumption increases. And there's the blue line is human population growth, and the yellow line is the wood used. And even though the per capita use has dropped off some, the line is still going in the other direction. People need wood products and will use them. As their income changes, the amount of wood consumed increases. And if we look at other parts of the world, that all they have to do is just change their standard of living a little bit, and the demand for wood products goes up. And as a result of that, the projections out to 2060 here for blue line for roundwood world demand and wood pulp-based products, particularly paper and paperboard, are really quite positive. And so there's a world demand for what Maine produces. So why is this a great place to grow wood and sell wood products? This is a map of biomass production in the United States, and you can see the darker green areas have higher production capacity for woody biomass. So Maine has a high productivity in that area nationally. The chunk of wood that we grow, merchantable wood in the state annually would be, if you could compress it all together, is a solid chunk of wood, almost over 843 feet on a side, wide, deep, and high, which would be a block of wood that the height, depth, and width of the Transamerica building in San Francisco. So and that's the sustainably produced wood on an annual basis. Our forest inventory, that's the amount of wood volume. The forests that are out there today are double what they were in 1930, and it's a fairly stable inventory producing that big chunk of wood. And we've been harvesting this. Wood pretty, sustainably. This is our growth to harvest ratio, and so that block of wood we've been using in the forest products sector over time. Unlike a lot of regions, and I think this is a real strength, is that particularly the soils and the history we have here has produced a wide array of tree species that offer a wide array of different kinds of products. So there's a diversity of fiber that is naturally available not only within stands but across the wood producing portions of Maine. Maine has the highest level of sustainable certification. And the green areas are those lands that are certified. 50% of the state's forest land, definitely a national leader in that area. I've lived in regions where most of the forest land is owned by the government, 90%. When I was in Canada, when I lived in Oregon, 60% of the forest land was owned by the government. Maine is unique in that it has that 93% private land, which means you have a completely different capability to do certain things in the with the private sector. And Maine is unique, if you look at it nationally, is one of the largest contiguous blocks, if not the largest contiguous block of private commercial forest land in the U.S. It just makes forest management and capturing it a completely different thing. It's a huge advantage. Maine does all of this at wood production within a day's drive of some of the richest people on planet Earth. There's the household income, and the Northeast income profile is not matched in very few places in the world where it's matched, and we're producing wood products very close to that marketplace. These are shipping lanes. Maine is in a pretty good place geographically to capture shipping lanes, and this is the way wood fiber and all other products are moving around the world economy. One of the greatest advantages Maine has had is that, and compared to many other regions I've visited and been in, is this diverse products. We've got bioenergy plants, a dozen or so of those, paper mills, and sawmills. This provides a marketplace for the state for high-grade wood and also a full range of low-grade wood through all these production facilities. Huge advantage. I was shocked when I first came here and saw the log sorts that are in Maine, a dozen of them sometimes. I've never seen such a thing. It was amazing to me, it still is. And it's an advantage that other places don't have. Of course, the news is the news, and we've lost a major marketplace from mills in the Penobscot River Valley. And this fundamental shift is going on now, and obviously presenting a lot of challenge for the production of paper products and also wood demand that is being sorted out as we speak. And it's easy to get dark about that, but I'm reminded that my mother-in-law just died at 92, and her mother could have seen this. So in less than 2 human lifetimes, the forest product sector has changed in ways that are inconceivable. So we can have rapid change in a very short period of time with the right kind of technology and investment and thinking to capture that wood product in different ways. This is not that long ago. So what are some of the new and emerging opportunities? And I'm sure there's others in this room that are far more qualified than I am to talk about this, but I get to, being working at a university, I get to see some things that are being researched and whatnot. One of the things that's really exciting are CLT panels, these cross-laminated timber panels. There's a lot of excitement in the architectural community. These huge panels sequester a lot of carbon. Makes them a fantastic option for green building, and they can be architecturally really quite attractive. And there's a architectural movement to start building tall buildings again with wood. So this provides a huge opportunity. It's something that Maine is in a position to capture as this moves forward. But you just doesn't take much research on the internet to see this is an exciting period. A couple of years ago, I was in Växjö, Sweden, and it claims to be the greenest city in Europe. And they decided back about 1980 that they were going to get off of oil completely. They had a huge wood-based economy, and the red bars are their consumption of oil. And by 2002, they had pretty well eliminated the use of oil and have a huge facility outside of town that provide all their heating and cooling requirements. All of it wood-based, and the ethic was to reduce the carbon footprint of their community and take maximum advantage of the wood products that they had. So it's an amazing place in that regard. That sort of thinking about greenhouse gas policy is rippled across Europe, and this is the demand curve on wood pellets, and that the Europeans cannot produce enough wood pellets to support their policy. There's lots of exciting things going on with wood fiber-based products, and I showed the demand for this kind of thing increasing. Where is that going to be? Is Maine going to be part of that or not? Because the world demand is increasing. One of the neat things that we're working on now at the University of Maine and around the country is nanotechnology, and there are huge opportunities from even using wood in 3D printing, adhesives, and a wide variety of things. So there's some exciting things going on with the use of wood as a platform material for nanotechnology. All of this emerging as we speak. So what can Maine do? And I've worked for 20 years or so with the forest products sector in the state, and so I've had a chance, and I work with the forest landowners, and I look at the marketplace. I've helped do research, and the question is, what can Maine do to help capture some of these new opportunities? Well, one of the things is that when you look around and see that sect like Sweden, when they decide collectively that they're going to develop a strategy and start working towards it. Sweden does this. There's a forest sector plan for Finland, forest sector plan for the European Union. What are they going to do to capture wood markets and become players? State of Minnesota recently completed one as well, and these become comprehensive analyses of what the forest products sector looks like, what the markets are, and where they're going, and what they need to do collectively to capture that vision. So, how could Maine develop a vision and roadmap for its forest sector? This is just a thought based on looking at some of these others and my sense of Maine and what we can do. One of the things I've been amazed at in terms of working with loggers and landowners and transportation sector, wood products, pulp, is that you hear the same things from a lot of them, and there's never a conversation among them about how they might be able to cooperate on those, or even coordinate what the message might be to the legislature. And there's a need to facilitate the aspirations, opportunities, challenges, and obstacles that each of those sectors has, and the common threads that are obstacles are the kinds of things that need to be addressed if the sector is going to move forward. The other thing that I've yet to see, you see little pieces of it, but a forest products sector analysis for the entire state and the region, and how is this place going to fit into this global market. So there's an opportunity to figure out what those market trends are. The Maine wood supply analysis. We've not done a comprehensive supply analysis. What are the species available, their dimensions, what do the next 50 years look like in terms of available merchantable wood, and we can do this on a spatial basis today that we could not do before. So what does that look like? And then ultimately these three things need to be integrated together. Understand the markets, understand the available resource, and what the leading challenges are to produce a forest sector vision and roadmap. And this is possible. It's something we can do, but I'm not aware of us ever as a state looking at this sector and identifying a vision and coordinating what needs to happen as a roadmap. So I just offer this up as an idea. They're in a really obviously an incredible time of transition, particularly with low and poor quality wood material, and there's some opportunities to move us forward.